In the opening video, I talked a little bit about what computer science is, and I emphasized the importance of algorithms, but I didn't really talk about what they are. So before we really start learning programming and working with Python, let's make sure we understand what they are. So essentially, an algorithm is like a plan, a procedure, a strategy, some sort of instructions, something along those lines. Having a plan to get your parents to let you hang out with friends over the weekend, like to the movies or to the mall or whatever kids do these days, that's an algorithm. Making omelets is an algorithm. So like making breakfast, right? So, and whether you're going to put cheese in them or mushrooms or potatoes or ham or other stuff, onions or something, that's an algorithm. And there's actually a variable in there as far as like what is the ingredient you're going to put in there. And we'll talk more about variables as we go along. In addition, not only is making an omelet an algorithm, but making all of breakfast. So if you're going to pour yourself a glass of juice or make some toast with it or whatever, that's an algorithm too. So an algorithm can be inside of another algorithm. And getting ready in the morning, which might include, waking up, taking a shower, brushing your teeth, getting dressed, whatever, and then having breakfast, and then collecting your things, and then getting in the car or on a bus or on a bike or whatever to go to work or school or wherever, that's an algorithm too, with smaller algorithms inside of it. If you play games, you're probably pretty used to algorithms too, whether that's a board game or a card game or a video game. Normally there's some sort of strategy involved, right? It's normally not just random chance. So the strategy that you have to try to beat the game or your opponent or whatever is an algorithm. And a lot of times you're going to have additional strategies in case this in the game happens, or in case your opponent does that, or in case that happens, right? You often have these counter strategies to try to win even if something doesn't go as planned. Those are all algorithms. So what about like modern uses of algorithms, or algorithms in the commercial world or in industry? So we use a lot of those too. Google Maps uses algorithms. Figuring out which route to take you from Forbesfield to Washburn University is an algorithm, with possible other routes in case this one isn't going so well, right? That's an algorithm, and it's a pretty complex one that a lot of money has been spent on. Google's PageRank is an algorithm. So how does Google know what sites to show you when you search for Angkor Wat or some other location or thing or whatever? There's an algorithm that decides the order of those pages, that tries to identify what is most likely going to be what you want. And Google's gotten pretty good at it. That's why most people use Google for their search engine instead of Yahoo or Bing, which is basically the same, or other search engines out there. Amazon's recommendations for you is based on an algorithm, looking into things that you've bought before and things that you've looked at but not purchased and trying to figure out what you might like. That is an algorithm looking at different things and trying to make decisions to hopefully sell you more stuff. Spotify's Discover Weekly is an algorithm. So if you're following these certain artists and you've added these certain songs to your playlist, then what else might you like? There's an algorithm that tries to figure that out for your Discover Weekly. And even really your daily playlists, there's an algorithm for those too that tries to decide which of these go well together to create a playlist based on a certain style or theme or whatnot. YouTube recommendations, sort of that same thing once again. Looking at the different types of things that you do on YouTube and then trying to decide what else you might like. And even airline prices are based on an algorithm. So recently, one of the airlines got a bit of publicity for outrageous prices on airline tickets, but that was an algorithm based on certain parameters that didn't take into account natural disasters. So when there's a certain amount of interest in particular flights, then the algorithm increases those because it looks like the demand is higher, and so it thinks that it can get a better price. So hopefully that gives you a better idea of how we naturally as humans use algorithms, but also in all the different applications that algorithms are involved in that we use on a daily basis, or sometimes on a not so regular basis, but ways that algorithms are used both for ourselves and commercially. Thanks for watching. I hope that gives you a better idea of what algorithms are, and of course, we'll keep talking about them as we move through the course, using them in different programs that we write. I hope you'll join me for the next video.